Shana Tova, welcome this evening of Yom Kippur to all of our congregants and friends and neighbors who are here attending, and also to those who are watching on live stream and on JLTV, Jewish Life Television, around the country. We welcome everyone to this beautiful evening of Yom Kippur, a time of introspection and looking within. And for those who are wearing a talit, you can recite the blessing with me. Please rise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lihitatef batzitzit. Praised are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who sanctified us with your commandments and commanded us to don the talit and wrap ourselves in the spirit of forgiveness and atonement. Please be seated. In a moment, we're going to begin our service, and before we do, I'd just like to make sure that everyone knows that tonight's prayers include the most moving prayer of the High Holy Days, the Kol Nidre. Kol Nidre means all vows and promises and oaths that we made to God that we could not fulfill. We ask God to release us from those vows and promises. We ask that they be null and void. For vows and promises, however, that we made with other people, Kol Nidre does not annul. That we have to do with the individuals that we promised something to, or that we made a commitment to that we were not able to fulfill. The power of Kol Nidre is found in its antiquity. According to some scholars, it was first introduced during the Visigoth persecutions of the 8th and 9th century, but it really gained its power during the Spanish Inquisition, when Jews of Spain and Portugal who had lived in a golden age were given a choice: convert to Catholicism, leave the country, or be burned alive at the stake. Of course, whole communities of Jews throughout Spain and Portugal moved to North Africa, the closest point, across to the Strait of Gibraltar, across to Africa, and populated Morocco and northern Africa. And because this prayer represented an ask of God to let us back in after the Inquisition passed, allow our people to return to their heritage, it contained tremendous power. And it became the signature of Yom Kippur and for many of the High Holy Days themselves. And that is a brief story of the power of Kol Nidre, all vows and promises. Now, it's chanted 3 times during the service, and once instrumentally, where I'll lead a guided meditation on forgiveness. So this is our opportunity to be inducted into a spiritual experience of healing and forgiveness. You just have to open your heart and open your mind and allow the music of Kol Nidre and the experience of being here together in synagogue fill your neshama, fill your soul. So we'll begin first today with a prayer of brotherhood and sisterhood, and I want to call on Jeff and Grant Palmer to open the ark for us. And let's all rise and put your arm around your neighbor as we sway back and forth to Hine ma tov u'manaim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manaim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manaim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov shevet Will be closed, and we join in a melody as the Torahs, please remain standing, come from the back to welcome them to the bima, the scroll of the Torah, with the chant of Or Zarua Latzadik, light is sown for the righteous, and joy for the upright in heart. On page 116, we remain standing. If you find it too difficult to remain standing, you may be seated. On page 116, please join me in the first reading of the Kol Nidre. Please join together with me. all the vows on our lips, the burdens in our hearts, the pent-up regrets about which we brooded and spoke through prayers without end on last Atonement Day, did not change our way of life, did not bring deliverance. In the year that is gone, from mountain peaks of fervor, we fell to the common ways at the close of the fast. B'yeshiva Shelmala, by the heavenly and earthly tribunal, we deem it permissible to pray with those who have sinned.
Yeshiva Shelmala, Uvishiva Shelmata, al dat hamakom, ve'al dat hakahal, anu matirin litpalel im avaryanim, al dat hamakom, ועל דעת הקהל, בישיבה של מעלה ובישיבה של מטה, אנו מתירים להתפלל עם עבריינים.
I call on the Black family to open the ark for the chanting of the first Kol Nidre.
Kol Nidre ve'yesarei v'acharamei ve'konamei ve'chinuyei ve'kinusei Ushavuot. Udeish tevana udeyacharimena
Betiasarna al nafshatana
din adarna udeish tevana
Udeacharimna Udeacharimna
Asarna
al nafshatana
Miyom Kippurim zeh Ad Yom Kippurim Icheratna, ve'on.
Kol hon ve'on shara.
Yehon Sharan.
Yehon sharan.
Shvikin. Beteilin umotalin la sheriri plakayamin niderana La Nidre.
Vesarana la esare.
Shehuatana. La Shevut.
Please be seated, everyone. We opened our prayers with the words, Or Zarua, light is sown for the righteous, and joy for the upright in heart. When we fill our lives with light, the light of goodness, the light of decency, the light of compassion, we bring that energy and light into our consciousness, and then we spread it to others. What was the famous quote? If you can't be the light, be the mirror that reflects the light. Be a source of light in your lifetime. And now to kindle the lights of Yom HaKippurim, I'd like to ask all the women to rise, and I'd ask for Adrian to come out to lead in the bracha and the blessing of the candles of the Day of Atonement.
Took away the mattress.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner של יום הכיפורים.
Repeating with me, may we be blessed
May we be blessed
with the light of holiness.
with the light of holiness.
May we be blessed
May we be blessed
with the light of forgiveness.
with the light of forgiveness.
May we be blessed
May we be blessed
with the light of peace.
with the light of peace.
Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated, everyone, and our service continues on the bottom of page 121 as we read together this translation of the Kol Nidre on the bottom of the page and on the screens. Please read with me. All vows, oaths, promises, and all manner of bindings of soul with which I may bind myself, limit myself, constrain myself from this Yom Kippur until the next Yom Kippur. May it come upon us all for a blessing. I hereby release, disavow, declare null and void from this time forward. The bindings shall not really bind, the constraints shall not constrain, and the limitations shall not in any way limit my power. We're going to dim the lights for a moment, and I'm going to ask you to think about forgiveness and close your eyes and come on with me on a journey into the heart of what it means to forgive. For a moment, let's just take a moment and reflect on what the word really means to, in your heart, release and forgive someone who's injured you, who's insulted you, who's harmed you personally or your professional reputation. So hard to do. But on this eve of atonement and forgiveness, it's our challenge. Very gently, no force, just an experiment in truth. Just for a moment, allow the image of that someone for whom you have a lot of resentment and anger, a sense of distance. Let them gently come into your mind as an image, as a feeling. Maybe you feel them at the center of your chest as fear or resistance. However they manifest in your mind and body, just invite them very gently for this moment, for this experiment. And in your heart, silently say to them, silently, I forgive you. I forgive you for whatever you've done to me in the past that caused me pain, so much pain, intentionally or unintentionally. However you caused me that pain, tonight, I open my heart. I forgive you. Speak gently to them in your heart with your own words, in your own way, and in your heart, say to them, I forgive you for whatever you may have done in the past through your words, through your actions, through your thoughts that caused me pain intentionally or unintentionally. Tonight, I forgive you. Allow them for a moment to be touched by your forgiveness. It's so painful to hold on to someone in your heart that caused you pain. But why hold on to the pain and resentment even for a moment longer? Fear, doubt, let it go. And in this moment, touch them with forgiveness. Now let them go gently. Leave them quietly. Let them go with your blessing that only you are capable of giving. And picture someone who has great resentment for you. Feel them in your chest. See them in your mind as an image, a sense of their being. Invite them in gently. Someone who has resentment or anger or who's unforgiving towards you. Let them into your heart and say to them, I ask for your forgiveness for whatever I may have done in the past that caused you pain, intentionally or unintentionally, through my words or through my actions, through my thoughts, however I've caused you that pain, I ask your forgiveness tonight. Through my anger, my fear, my blindness, my laziness, however I caused you pain, intentionally or unintentionally, I ask your forgiveness. If the mind rises up with thoughts like self-indulgence or doubt, just know how profoundly mercilessness we are with ourselves, and open your own self to forgiveness. Allow yourself to be forgiven. And say to yourself, however I cause myself pain, I ask myself for forgiveness. Let it be. And turn to your own heart and say, I forgive you. It's painful to open the heart, but we have to do it, at least attempt it, so that we can heal and grow and take the true meaning of this Day of Atonement with us, released and free throughout the year. Let's embrace this melody and let it open our heart chamber to forgiveness tonight and every night throughout the year. I hope you went deep. I did. I'd like to call now on Zach Zalbin and Josh Flagg to stand on both sides of the cantor as we rise for the third chanting of the Kol Nidre. But first, let's read on page 116, the bottom paragraph on the screens and in the prayer book. Will you hear our regret? Will you open our prison? Release us from shackles of habit. Will you answer our prayers? Forgive our wrongs. Though we sin again and again, in moments of weakness, we do not remember promises of Atonement Day. Look past forgetfulness. Take only from our hearts. Forgive us. Pardon us. Please be seated, everyone. Open New York. Open New York. That's good. Thank you, Josh. And this one goes into the back room. Thank you. Thanks. I can't believe we're already here at another Yom Kippur. Didn't this year fly by, or is it my imagination? It moved, thank you, it moved so quickly. It was really amazing. So tonight is about looking within, what the rabbis called the olam pnimi, the inner world, our inner world. We fast, we abstain from food, from drink, from sexual relations, from wearing leather garments. That's why the Cantor and I are wearing our tennis shoes. It's not to make a quick exit, don't think. And on this day, we evaluate. We do a soul inventory of all of our actions, and we think about the mistakes we made, the sins we committed, omission and commission, where we fell short. In fact, the Hebrew word for sin is chet, which means an arrow that misses the mark, that failed to hit the target. And all of us can imagine there must be areas in our lives that we want to correct, that we want to heal, that we want to improve. As human beings, spiritual growth is about improvement each and every day of our lives, that we're given that gift of life. And, you know, Yom Kippur is actually not called Yom Kippur, it's called Yom HaKippurim, a day of many atonements. And when we go through the inventory of sins, we realize, well, maybe I did that one, not that one, but there's always more than one if we're honest and we do a real self-scrutiny. And in dealing with sin, we have to, first of all, move beyond denial and recognize what holds us back from something that underpins Yom Kippur, which is forgiveness. And what is it? It's Satan. Did the rabbi just say Satan? Yes, actually I did, but in Kabbalah, it's not a guy with a pitchfork and a red suit and a long tail. Satan is your ego which will not allow you to apologize to someone that you may have injured. Your ego that holds you back from granting forgiveness to someone who injured you. It's always the ego that entraps us more than any imaginary devil figure or satanic figure. And so we overcome it, we sublimate it, we try to move beyond it and do for others. And the field of psychoneuroimmunology tells us that when we do for others, we release endorphins and we release oxytocin and we release chemicals that lift us, that make us not just feel better in that moment, but that are protective of our hearts. And so it's in our best interest, and it's the ego that holds us back from taking those actions. And I think for many of us, when we think about all of the things going on in this out-of-kilter world, we resort to something that doesn't serve us well, which is worrying. And there's a story about a grandpa who gathered his grandchildren around when he was in his 90s, and he said, "Look, kids, I want to give you some advice. And the advice I want to give you is to stop worrying." By the way, there was a study that said 80% of the things that we worry about never come to pass. But the grandfather said to the children and grandchildren, "Look, you don't have anything to worry about. You really only have two things to worry about. Are you healthy or are you sick? If you're healthy, you have nothing to worry about. If you're sick, you have to worry about two things. Am I going to live or am I going to die? If you live, you have nothing to worry about. But if you die, you have two things to worry about. Am I going to heaven or am I going to hell? If you're going to heaven, it's beautiful. You have nothing to worry about. But if you're going to hell, You're going to be so busy saying hello to all your friends, you won't have time to worry. But I'm a worrywart. I worry about things. And one of the things I've been worrying about lately has been artificial intelligence. I think AI is going to bring tremendous advances in medical research. I think it's going to bring great advances in technology. But here's my fear. I fear that AI is going to take social media and put it on steroids. And we already have a whole generation of young people who are too much addicted to their devices, spend too many hours in front of those screens. And now with AI reading their intentions and their minds, I fear for that. And I think the fact that a lot of the leaders in this field themselves admit there have to be guardrails to artificial intelligence. My friend Jeffrey sent me a very cute story about a rabbi who got up in front of his congregation on Yom Kippur and he confessed, I got really busy this year before the high holidays. I didn't have time. And so the sermon I just delivered was written by ChatGPT. Now, I have no such confession to make, but I do worry about AI, and there was a wonderful question that was posed to ChatGPT that I'd like to share with you. Dear ChatGPT, will AI replace rabbis? And ChatGPT answered, I'm reading it to you verbatim. A rabbi serves as a spiritual leader, teacher, and guide within the Jewish community. They provide counseling, offer interpretations of religious texts, lead religious ceremonies and services, and they play a crucial role in the community's life and development. While AI can provide information and insight from religious texts, it lacks the human touch, empathy, understanding required for many aspects of rabbinical work. So I guess I'll still have a job for the next couple of years. I don't know about security. All of us worry about security. There's a great story about a man in a village who was very poor, and he went to the rabbi and he said, I can't find work, Rabbi, can you help me? And the rabbi said, here's a stipend so you can provide for your family. And the man said, but Rabbi, I want to go to work. I don't want to stay home all day and take advantage of your kindness. And the rabbi stroked his beard and he thought for a moment, and then he said, I have a job for you. See this bell? I want you to take this bell. I want you to go out to the gate of the city, and I want you to wait for the Messiah to come. And when the Messiah arrives, I want you to ring that bell really loudly so all of us will come and greet the Messiah. A couple of days later, his friend passed through the city and saw his friend with a bell at the gate of the city and said, Moshe, what are you doing here? He said, well, the rabbi gave me a job to ring the bell for the Messiah. He said, what kind of job is that? He said, it doesn't pay well, but there's great job security. A lot of us hope for great job security. We hope for security in everything we do, minimizing doubt and uncertainty. And I don't know about security, and I don't really know about social security because it is nearing insolvency. But security is somewhat illusory, and the truth is security for me comes from faith, comes from family, comes from connectivity. It's not something that we can find necessarily in places that we don't expect to find it. And so it's so critical for us to think of security in those terms. And, a lot of us turn to science because we say, well, science is clear and precise and knowledge that can't be questioned, and I can find security in that. But the truth is you can't, because up until recently, astronomers believed that our world consisted of billions of galaxies. And now, since the advent of the recent photographs that have come to us from the James Webb Telescope, we know that there are not billions, there are hundreds of billions of galaxies. And we'll drop the screen for a moment. I'd like to show you something I learned about the Webb Telescope that I really didn't know. And the first thing is that it was a massive project. Hundreds of engineers and NASA scientists working together to accomplish a feat that was amazing. And let me read you a quote about this that astonished me because it came from a scientist, Robert Barron, no relationship, who was one of the lead scientists on this mission of this amazing telescope. And he said, this telescope came so close to failure so many times that I could say without a doubt it was a leap of faith. Can you imagine a scientist talking about a leap of faith? But it really was. And then he went on to explain that there were 344 points of failure associated with this telescope. Now, what's a point of failure? That means if one of these 344 things go wrong, kaput, it's gone, it's over. $10 billion of our tax money and all the years of work of these scientists. But look at the images. Stars that are dying, stars that are being born, a universe that is vast and endless. And that's what in Kabbalah God is referred to as the endlessness, Ein Sof, without end. What's interesting to me from these images is also when you look at the planet Earth from certain perspectives, you see it's a tiny little dot. And we human beings, what are we? We're just a speck, hardly a speck on that dot. I learned something else about this amazing telescope, that they had to trust one another, these scientists, and they trusted in three values: redundancy, repairability, and reliability. That was the mission. Redundancy, they kept doing the same experiment again and again to make sure it wouldn't fail. Repairability, they had to be sure it could be repaired from the home base. Why? Unlike Hubble, where you could send up a few astronauts to fix a broken wing, here you couldn't do that because it was 100 million miles away. So they had to be sure of repairability. And lastly, reliability. They had to believe that all of the elements they put into this were reliable. And I'll tell you, that's kind of a metaphor for us. We all have hundreds of points of failure that if we don't do certain things, things will go wrong. We all need to have trust in one another, have that reliability factor. And we all need, especially on Yom Kippur, repairability. But to come back to what I was saying earlier, human beings are nothing, insignificant in terms of the grand cosmos. But yet, if you think for a moment, human beings are amazingly complex. I asked recently, how long is the human genome chain? Well, it consists of 3.2 billion base pairs or set of genetic letters. That's what makes up the human genome. And in order to list all of those letters, a person would have to type 60 words a minute, 8 hours a day for 50 years. It's astonishing. Well, how about if you stretch out the human genome? How long is it? Each person has 60 trillion feet or 10 billion miles of DNA. Can you imagine that? Each of us have 10 billion miles of DNA within us, inside of us. The Earth, we all know, is 93 million miles from the sun, and DNA can stretch to the sun and back 61 times. That's one person's DNA. So what is this about? Where am I going with this? We're just a speck in the universe, but yet we're amazingly complex. The truth is, it's not in our complexity and it's not in the vastness of the universe, it's in our human interactions with one another that we truly live. That's where we live. Not out there in space, which we should explore to the fullest extent. Not within the human genome, which is being decoded every day, that work continues. But in the human interactions, what we do for one another. One of my colleagues told the story about a riptide in Florida. Riptides, many of you know, are these very strong undertows. And if you've ever been caught in a riptide, and I have, the tendency is to want to swim against it, but you'll surely drown if you try to do that. It will exhaust you. You have to go with the riptide, even though it'll take you farther out. And eventually, when it subsides, you'll make your way back to shore, swimming horizontally against it, not against the riptide. And she tells this story about a group of people who saw somebody in trouble during a riptide and how they linked hands and went out to the water till they could get close enough to throw a rope to reach that person and bring them in. And she said, you know, we didn't really have to do that. There was no lifeguard. This person shouldn't have taken that chance. We don't have to do these kinds of things. What are we, lifeguards? No. And she went on to say, very beautifully, that the Torah tells us you cannot stand by while someone is dying while someone is being injured. You must act. You have that obligation as a human being, and it's part of our commitment as Jews to never stand by, to never say, that's not my business, I don't care. And saving a life, pikuach nefesh, saving a life, we're taught in the Talmud, is greater than Yom Kippur, it's greater than Shabbat, it's greater than any Jewish law. Saving a life above all. Because he who saves one life saves an entire universe. Now, there are some people who are remarkable, and I want to call Johnny and Aaron to come up with Enrica. Please come up, round to the bima. There are some amazing people who've done remarkable things. They risked their own lives. And I'm going to show you just a short clip about one of those men, actually a group of 4 brothers who fought the Nazis in the forests of Belarus, of Russia, Poland, in that region. So if we can run the tape of the story of their defiance against tremendous odds. When he gets up here, keep him.
They killed him. Papa and Mama. I should have protected them.
We're family. We have to stick together.
You have a plan?
Only full bullets.
And we'll have to make them count.
For my brothers. For my parents. And for all the others.
We know these woods. They'll never find us in here.
Every day, more people are killed.
We will send for everyone who is left alive.
The old, the sick, there are thousands. How will we live?
We will protect you.
We will start rebuilding the lives that you have all lost. Everyone will work. There are no exceptions.
And we will become warriors. Fire!
Our revenge is to live.
If you save a life, you must take responsibility for it.
We may be hunted like animals, but we will not become animals.
It is impossible! Nothing is impossible. What we all have done is impossible.
I almost lost my faith, but you were sent by God to save us.
So some of you have seen the film, but I'm so honored tonight for all of us, not just for myself, to introduce you to a true hero, the last remaining of those 3 brothers, a man who stood up and fought for his people, for the Jewish people, against tremendous odds and was not deterred, a man who saved 1,200 Jewish lives. And do you know how many descendants there are? Over 40,000 descendants from that act of saving one life, one act of saving a life. Let's give a warm welcome and stand up to acknowledge Aaron Bell, Aaron Bielski. Aaron, they love you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming here.
My pleasure to come here.
We are honored to have you here on Yom Kippur. Tell me, what did you eat in the forest?
What did I do? What?
What did you eat in the forest when you were fighting?
Oh, what I ate in the forest? Anything you could get. Piece of wood.
That was every day Yom Kippur.
Except Yom Kippur we didn't eat.
Okay,
Otherwise,
that's very encouraging. And tell me, how did you get weapons to fight? So many Jews never received a weapon, never handled a weapon. How did you get a weapon?
there is all kind of ways of getting weapon. Getting in a nice way, getting in a miserable way. Simple as that. If you need weapon, you need it. You get it. You know, look, God forbid, let's assume here's a fire. Okay? You cannot go this way. So you try to get the other way.
Okay.
By hook or by crook, but we're going to do it.
Aaron, what you accomplished is so amazing. You saved 1,200 people. Have you met the children and the grandchildren, the Einiklach of these people?
Well, the Rabbeinu Shalom wanted me to do that, wanted us to do that.
God wanted me to do that.
The Rabbeinu Shalom wanted to do that. And he keeps me still going.
God bless. 95 years young. God bless you. Amazing.
Thank you, thank you.
You honor us by being here. You honor us. We're so proud of you. You're a hero of the Jewish people.
I am proud of this place.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And his wife, Enrica, thank you. And Johnny, thank you for bringing Aaron here. All the way from Palm Beach, Florida, we have our beautiful Aaron and his family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have the chills because you don't get to meet many heroes in your lifetime, and we all had the pleasure of meeting him while he's alive and hearing what he did and how he did what he did. And he shared with me in an earlier conversation that it was a matter of survival. He didn't have a lot of choices. This is what he had to do. And he acted. And we will be confronted with opportunities to act. Maybe it won't be fighting Nazis in a forest. Maybe it won't be some other kind of heroic, superheroic action, rescuing a drowning person. But you know, the small acts of kindness add up as well. If you don't think that your one act can change a universe, a world, just ask a child who's been abused and then adopted by a loving family how their universe changed. All of us have within us the capability of making profound and impactful changes to those around us. Let's hope and pray that the examples we learned from on Yom Kippur teach us to hold fast to that throughout the coming year. Amen. We're going to continue our service on page 122 with the chanting of the Baruch Hu. Will everyone please rise and let's join in the Baruch Hu. Repeating with me, praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
To whom our praise is due.
To whom our praise is due.
Now and forever.
Now and forever.
Please be seated, and we continue on page 128, and let's read responsively. Our God and God of our ancestors, on the bottom of the page, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement.
For we are your people, and you, our holy source.
We are your children, and you, our parent.
We are your helpers, and you, our guide.
We are your body, and you, our designer.
We are your images, and you, our essence.
We are your flock, and you, our shepherd.
We are your plantings, and you, our gardener.
We are your creation, and you, our origin.
We are your beloved, and you, our lover.
We are your treasure, and you, our dearest friend.
We are the channels, and you, the divine force.
We are the holy sparks, and you are the animating light. I'd like to call up Daphne Ziman, Ben Singer, Barry, and Rina Ploss to please come around for an upcoming Ark opening. The 6 words of the Shema are the most sacred prayer in Judaism. It's inscribed in every mezuzah on the doorpost of our homes. It's something we read and recite every morning when we rise, every night before we go to sleep. It speaks about the oneness of God, ethical monotheism, the unity of humanity in these 6 simple words of the Shema. So will everyone please rise as the Ark will be opened, and we'll join together in the chanting of the Shema, the watchword of our faith. Repeating with me, Hear, O Israel.
Hear, O Israel.
The Lord our God.
The Lord our God.
The Lord is one.
The Lord is one.
Blessed is God's glorious kingdom.
Blessed is God's glorious kingdom.
Forever and ever.
Forever and ever.
Please be seated, everyone, as the Ark is closed. Thank you. I'd like to call on Malcolm Green to come up and lead us in the V'ahavta. The V'ahavta prayer can be found on page 125, the middle paragraph, and we'll join together in unison with Malcolm, our recent bar mitzvah. Handsome.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלתך בדרך ובשופך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Good job, Malcolm.
Thank you.
Very good. Well done. Tell your dad Michael Milken is here. Okay? Good. Let's read in unison on the bottom of page 125. Please join me. And you shall love yourself, for you are a spark of the divine. And you shall love your neighbor as yourself. And you shall love the stranger, for you were once strangers in the land of Egypt. Let love fill your heart for all being. I call heaven and earth to witness before you today. Life and death have I set before you, the blessing and the curse. Choose life so that you and your children may live. Love the source of being, the power of your powers, by heeding the voice and joining the one. For God is your life and the fullness of your days. Thus you will become and aware and carry through all the divine direction you receive from the one, and your lives will be bound in holiness to the power within you. I am that infinite power that drove you to leave Egypt to become your God. I am the infinite, your power in truth. I'd like to call on Daphne Zyman at this time for a reading. Daphne.
I wrote this poem. It is dedicated to those victims of violence in our country and across the world. The human soul. The human soul is blinded, paving the path of our survival in Braille. Human senses have failed to recognize that the essence of truth is lost on the ship of hope that has already sailed. Human voices are echoing in the dark, yearning to trust, to love, and abide. The thread of our innermost faith is forevermore our guiding light. Let us touch each other's heart with generosity and kindness and the passion to love. Our primal fibers are pulling so hard, leading us to the rising sun at dawn, unveiling the essence of beauty to erase our blunders, ever so disguised. The longing, pounding in our guts. Who can unleash the hunger in our human hearts? The longing is pushing forward with a prayer in our conscious minds. Let us see just the wonder of how precious is life. Thank you.
מלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ובני ישראל לך אנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו חו ראו בניך בוקי הים לפני משה זעירי אנו ואמרו ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Turn to page 124, and I'd like to call on Bernie Hiller and Stephen Mock to come around to the side. Thank you. On page 124, in the middle of the page, let's read responsively the Amnam Cain prayer. It is true that we cause pain to ourselves and others. Still, the God of mercy says, forgiven. Even though we internalize anger and take it out on others, the God of love says, forgiven. Even if I feel unclean, undeserving, the God of beauty says, forgiven. Even though I stray from my pure essence and path of righteousness, the God of kindness says, forgiven. Even though our world contains so many out-of-balance forces, the God of creation declares, forgiven.
Cleanse all our blemishes, clarify all our dark places. The God of salvation says, forgiven.
Our service continues with the Salach Lanu prayer. This is an original composition by our music director. Salach Lanu. Forgive us, O God, for we've gone astray, we've committed sins. Accept our repentance and forgive.
You, Adonai,
I'd like to call on Stephen Mocht at this time for a reading.
If insanity prevails in ours, billions of years will be wasted with no one left to even mourn. Before it is too late, O Master of the universe, give us the wisdom not to spend all our hate, but to share our love. Holy One of blessing, creator of light, who has given us the right to use fire and light 6 days of the week, cause us to realize we are kin to each other. Protect us from ourselves, that we may learn to live in such a way that we and the planet and the future may be safe. We ask this of you, O Lord, and of ourselves.
Please turn to page 142, and let's read responsively the Shema Kolenu prayer, in which we beseech the Creator to hear our voices, respond to our pleas. Page 142, please join me. Now hear our voices. Awaken all mercies. Accept our prayer from where we are now. Bring us back to our center, and we will return there with gladness. Renew us now as you've done in days gone by. Cast us not away from before you. Take not your Holy Spirit away from us. As we grow older, do not abandon us. When we become weak, renew our faith and life. Release us from pain and strife. Remind us of who we are as we return to you. Shema Kolenu.
וקבל ברחמים, ברחמים וברצון את תפילתנו. השיבנו אדוני אליך, השיבנו אליך ונשובה, חדש ימינו, ימינו כקדם. תשליחנו שליחנו. לעת זקנה, ככלות כל חיינו. ברחמים, ברחמים וברצון. את תפילתנו.
I'd like to call on Bernie Hiller now for a reading.
During our lifetime, some of us will go through many difficult crises that disconnect us from our inner power, our emotions, and the people in our life. These situations lead us to hopelessness and the loss of purpose and meaning. Disconnected from our inner compass, we start to drift. Sadness and loneliness become our constant companion. And now, things have gotten so much worse because of social media. We now have a phenomena called connective loneliness. America is experiencing a loneliness epidemic. To live a joyous, passionate, and adventurous life again, you need to find your path. Every time you connect to your heart, your instincts would lead you to your true self. Every time you see another, you must find yourself in them. And every time you give hope, you get hope. Everything you learn will get you closer to life's possibilities. Everyone who wants a better life needs to inspire others to join them, because love increases with another. The greatest gift we can ever give anyone is our joy. So now, let's take a moment to look at the person sitting next to you and in front of you and say, I bless you. For every time you bless another, you bless yourself. Go ahead. Shana Tova.
Bernie, I bless you, and we bless each other. Right now, I'd like to call on Harris Cattleman and Kathy Schlesinger to please come up for the next ark opening in a moment. And our service will continue on page 130 with the chanting of the Avot and Imahot. Please rise as the ark will be opened, and we'll join in the chanting of the Amidah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Leah Elohei Rachel Ha'el HaGadol Ha'gibor ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim Bekonei Yaakov Lezoher Aseh Avot ve'imahot U'mevii geula lifnei bneihem למען שמו באהבה זוכרנו לחיים מלך חפץ בחיים וכתבנו בספר החיים לך אלוהים חיים מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה
We pause for a moment of Amidah, silent meditation and prayer for any prayers in our hearts and minds this eve of Yom Kippur. And let's dedicate a portion of our prayers to the men and women of the armed forces of our country defending freedom for us around the world, and the soldiers of Tzahal, the Israel Defense Forces, protecting her borders. Let's pray for the day, O Lord, when their service will never be called upon again, and they can live in peace, each in their own way, with families and loved ones. So watch over them, O Lord, and protect them, return them home safely. And we add a prayer for the men and women of the island of Maui who were stricken by this horrific disaster. Our hearts go out to their families and loved ones who were lost and to those who suffered injury. Please remain standing for a moment of Amidah, of silent meditation and prayer. Please be seated and let's join with our cantors in the prayer for peace. Oseh Shalom Bimromav.
Shalom
Amen. Boy, we're blessed with wonderful cantors, Chazan Nathan Lamb and our wonderful Alicia Pierce.
And we are really blessed with Rabbi David Barron.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you. And our wonderful music director, and I was told if I say she won a Grammy one more time, I'm going to get shot.
No.
But congratulations to her on her first Grammy. And our beyond amazing choir. Beyond. And wait, our instrumentalists who are spectacular as well. Thank you to them. Thank you. You're not supposed to applaud in shul, but this is kind of an artsy synagogue, you know, so certain things go. And by the way, for those in the industry, the Writers Guild settled their strike tonight. The next portion of our service are the confessional prayers, the prayers we recite in which we confess sins, some of which we did not commit. But we confess not in a booth privately, but publicly as a congregation and community, accepting responsibility for sins that occur in our world that maybe we can correct on a personal level, on a greater level. So let's turn to page 136 and read with me the first of our confessional prayers, the Ashamnu, towards the bottom of the page, page 136. Who are we? We are light and truth, infinite wisdom, eternal goodness. Yet we have abused, we have betrayed, we have been cruel, we have destroyed.
At our core, we are light and truth and infinite wisdom, eternal goodness. Yet we have insulted, we have jeered, we have killed, we have lied.
Who are we? We're light and truth, infinite wisdom, eternal goodness, but yet we have mocked, we've neglected, we have oppressed, we have perverted.
At our core, we are light and truth and infinite wisdom, eternal goodness. Yet we have quarreled, we have rebelled, we have stolen, we have transgressed.
Our real being is light and truth, infinite wisdom, eternal goodness. Yet we have been unkind, we have been violent, we've been wicked, we've been xenophobic and zealously self-righteous. We rise to beat the breast into contrition with the chanting responsively of the Ashamnu prayer.
Ashamnu,
Ashamnu,
Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu Dofi, Shanu, Zadnu, Hamasnu, Tafalnu Sheker, Yatsnu Ra, Kizavenu, Latsnu, Maradnu, Niatsnu, Sararnu, Avinu, Pashanu, Sararnu, Kishinu Oref, Rashanu, Shichatnu, Tiavnu, Tainu, Titanu.
Please be seated, everyone. We continue with the second of the confessional prayers, the Al Chet, for the sin. Let's turn to page 140. And in the middle of the page, let's read responsively. Forgive us, O God, our Father.
For the sin we have sinned before you by selfishness.
And for the sin we've sinned before you through thoughtlessness.
For the sin we have sinned before you by deceit.
And for the sin we've sinned before you by wronging our friends.
For all of these, O God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement.
שחטאנו לפניך באימוץ הלב, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בבלי דעת.
We continue for the sin we've sinned before you by untruthfulness.
And for the sin we've sinned before you by scoffing.
For the sin we've sinned before you by evil speech.
And for the sin we've sinned before you through greed.
For the sin we've sinned before you with false pride.
For all of these, O God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement.
שחטאנו לפניך בחש ובכזב, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בלצון.
I'd like to call on Herb and Janine Nadel to come up and open the ark for us as our service continues with one of the most evocative prayers of our liturgy, the Avinu Malkeinu. Please turn to page 171, and let's read responsively. Our source, our deep inner guide, we have let ourselves move from the truth.
O Mother, our nurturing guide, make yourself known through us.
O Father, our guide on the way, renew for us now a good year.
Our source and our deep inner guide, may we find pardon for the suffering we inflict.
O Mother, our guide on the way, let our darkness be illumined with light.
O Father, our nurturing guide, may we release the anguish we take on.
Our source, our deep inner guide, let us return to God in all things.
O Mother, our nurturing guide, let us learn to heal and be healed.
Together, O Father, our guide on the way. Yes, we know that we are but dust. Please rise as the ark is opened, and we join together in the chanting of Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu v'Aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu v'Aneinu, ki ein lanu ma'asim. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu v'Aneinu, Avinu Malkeinu.
be seated, everyone. We continue on page 172, and let's read this prayer responsively on the bottom of the page. Please join me. Grant peace, goodness, and blessing to the world, graciousness, kindness, and mercy to us and to all your people Israel.
Bless us all, O our Father, with the divine light of your presence.
For by that divine light you've revealed to us your life-giving Torah and taught us loving kindness, righteousness, mercy, and peace.
May it please you to bless your people Israel in every season and in every hour with your peace.
Together in the book of life and blessing, peace and prosperity, may we and all your people, the house of Israel, be inscribed for a good and peaceful life. Praised are you, O Lord, source of peace. Sim shalom.
בספר חיים ברכה ושלום ופרנסה טובה ייזכר וניכתב לפניך אנחנו בכל עמך בית ישראל לחיים טובים ולשלום ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום
I'd like to call on Eric and Alana Grafio. Please come up for a blessing of the newlyweds, if they're still here. Eric and Alana. Right now, we continue our service. In just a moment, I wanted to make a quick announcement for many of you who want to meet Aaron Bielski. He will be here tomorrow for my discussion from 2 to 5:30 p.m. You'll get an opportunity to meet him. And don't ask, don't tell. If you took a selfie and posted it on Instagram and talked about what an amazing experience you had meeting a true hero of the Holocaust, I didn't know about it, so you don't have to tell me. But absolutely, you'll get a chance to ask him your questions and to meet him and shake hands with him. I know it's a great honor for me, and I'm sure for all of us. So the other thing I wanted to mention is on your way out of here tonight, look up in the lobby, and you'll see the magnificent detail work, silver and gold leaf, in the restoration of our Temple of the Arts Plost family lobby under that beautiful dome, which is the Stanley and Joyce Black Rotunda. So take a look at it. You'll see the magnificent restoration work that's underway here in your temple and this wonderful theater that we get to experience all year long. So right now we'll continue our service with the Aleinu on page 146. Let's all rise and join in the chanting of our first closing prayer, the Aleinu.
לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא זמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל העולם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמן והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Accepting the mourners, will everyone please be seated? The mourners are going to join me in the mourners' Kaddish prayer to magnify and sanctify God's name, remembering loved ones who were a light on our path, guiding us as they did throughout their lifetime. Please join me in the words of the Kaddish prayer, Yitgadal, V'yitgadash, Shemei Rabbah, Bi'alma, Divra, Chirute, V'yamlich, Malchute, B'chayechon, Uvyomechon, Uvchaye, Dechol, Bet Yisrael, Ba'agala, Uvizman, Koriv, V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah, Mevarach, Li'alam, Ulalmei Almaya. Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, magnified and sanctified be God's great name throughout this world, which God governs according to his will. May his kingdom be established in our lifetime and in the lifetime of the house of Israel. And let us say, Amen. Oseh shalom, bimromav, huyaseh shalom, aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. May God who creates peace in the heavens above grant peace and comfort to all who mourn, to all Israel, to all mankind. Amen. Please be seated, everyone. And I'd like to call on Brian Weinstock, our temple president, for a few important announcements. Brian.
The rabbi decided to take most of my announcements away, so I'm going to just tell you that tomorrow's services begin promptly at 10 a.m. The Yizkor service will be approximately noon. The children's services will be available in the Guzman, the Guzman Founders Room will have the children's services at 10:15. And of course, the rabbi mentioned he has this fabulous tradition of spending the day here in the synagogue. And from 2 to 5 p.m., he has a very special set of guests. Closing Elah services begin at 5:30, and Jeff Green came in to blow the shofar for the final blast. Everyone's invited to partake in the mini break the fast feast afterwards. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. As I was saying earlier, tomorrow you'll also be able to order a copy of Aaron's book, Caught Between Hitler and Stalin. It's gripping. And there'll be some copies available, and you'll be able to order them as well. The Yizkor Memorial Service at our Temple of the Arts, for those of you who know and who have been, is one of the most moving anywhere, and certainly of the year. And it's a way to remember parents and grandparents and loved ones. So we hope you'll make a point of being with us through the Yizkor Memorial Service. And my special guest will be Johnny Daniels, who will be speaking about saving a Holocaust Torah. So please stay with us throughout the day tomorrow from 2 to 5:30. You'll have an opportunity of also hearing from a friend of mine, Professor Fred Luskin from Stanford University. Fred started the Stanford University Forgiveness Project, a 10-year project studying forgiveness and its effects, the how and why. So please make a point of being here. I think you'll enjoy it. It'll be very enlightening. And John Mirisch, former mayor of Beverly Hills, is going to speak about standing up to anti-Semitism. We hope you'll come. We hope you'll spend the whole day, and you'll see that your hunger pangs will disappear as you're engaged in a really lively conversation and questions and answers. So right now we'll close our service with the Shehecheyanu, thanking God for making it another year, and then the Yedid Nefesh prayer, the soul of every one of us connected with the source, the soul of God.
וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Shana Tova, a sweet, healthy, and blessed new year for you and all of your loved ones, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. Shana Tova, good Yontif.